And welcome back to Any Day Anime. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Johnny, and I'm here with my co-host, Corie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And we are back once again with some news, a fun segment for you, some recommendations, some reviews, and so why don't we just jump right into it?
Yes.
The first news article that we have is regarding Percy Jackson. There's a series coming to Disney Plus. Percy Jackson series, Corie. That's a series that you know just a little bit about. You might dabble in it. Is that right?
Yeah, I only know everything about the series. So I know this is not anime. It's not going to be an animated series. But the reason I want to talk about it is because I am a firm believer that it should be an animated series rather than live action.
Fair enough. And you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to explain that even though we are an anime show, we are occasionally going to be talking about stuff that we just personally love a lot. Even if it's not necessarily anime, it is going to be focused on anime or animated stuff. But like Corie said, this is a series that she believes should be an animated series. So tell us more about what it's going to be, and then tell us more about what you want it to be.
So this is going to be a live action series, and for those of you who are big fans such as myself, don't worry, good old Uncle Rick is backing this. He's involved in the writer's room, and he made, he made sure that the current director is a fan of the show. Well, not the show, but, of the books, and knows what he's doing. So this is essentially going to be every book nerd's dream, where they're taking each book, from my understanding, and making it into a season, and then each episode would be, a chapter from the book.
Okay. Yeah, and you're right. That is definitely having it broken up like that is a good way to, get all of the important details out, get all the important storylines, and also it's a really clean way of having storylines arc in a certain way that they're supposed to, with each season being redone, remade from each book. I like that. You don't get to see that very often, stuff that's remade in that formula, one-to-one like that. So
yes,
it's good at least that this is going to happen.
I'm hesitantly excited. So we're filming. I say filming. We're recording this fairly close to Valentine's Day, so I want to share a little anecdote with you, Johnny.
Okay.
My first ever Valentine's Day date was to go see the Percy Jackson movies, and it was awful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did you go into the movie excited, and were you hoping for, were you expecting it to be good? Were you expecting it to be bad? What were you thinking?
So, just to tell you how excited the guy I was quote-unquote dating, I was in the 6th grade, how excited we both were. We had matching Camp Half-Blood t-shirts from Hot Topic that we wore.
Oh my.
And we were so excited. I knew some things weren't going to be the same. I knew Annabeth wasn't going to be a blonde, which really upset me as a 6th grader. But then going in and watching it, him and I both being these huge fans, we were mad the whole time.
Understandable. Yeah, from what I've heard, I have seen the movie and I have read the first book, but I don't remember anything about the movies, which I'm sure you wish you could say the same. But yeah, I know from you and from a lot of other people online that have said that it's just not faithful. There's a lot of things that they went wrong with it, and it's kind of has the same rap as the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, which is that it's not good. It's not a faithful interpretation of the source material. But so, if you could have your own dream of this remake, what is it that you want them to do differently? Like you said, you wanted them to make it more animated, make it an animated series rather than live action. But is there any other details that you'd want to make sure to get put in?
So, I would love a little cameo of the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief musical. Which is my own personal, campy, it needs to be in there. And if they had gone the animated route, I think they could have actually gotten some of the actors from the musical to do the series, which I think would have been perfect. The guy who plays Grover in the musical, that is what I think of. Like, his voice is exactly as I imagined Grover's. So I think that could have been just something really, really cool. And there's one thing I would want them to keep from the movies. And you said you don't remember this, but a lot of people have been talking about one of the only things that is redeeming about the Percy Jackson movies is the Lowe's Hotel and Casino scene, where they are given drugs in the shape of lotus flowers, and they just, like, go gambling. And while it wanted to be a little more kid-friendly, the whole, like, Lady Gaga playing in the background and, like, the whole montage, that is spectacular. So I want that to come back. But I think just because of the content, like, the nature of the story itself, it lends itself more to being an animated series that does live action, because you're going to be a lot more faithful to how the characters look, because you're not altering a 12-year-old child's appearance. You're not going to be so reliant on CGI. And I think it could have been an awesome opportunity for fan art that's become essentially canon. For the people who made that artwork to do the promotional work for the show, to maybe even dabble with the animation and help storyboard a little bit. I think that could have been just a great way to get the fandom so much more involved.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, like, a lot of what you said makes sense from everything you've told me, tonight and in the past 5 years, has led me to believe that you are somebody that they should consult with.
Yes.
Going forward, honestly.
Yes, I've always said, like, if I should be working on the Percy Jackson works, because I have dedicated my entire life to reading and collecting every work Rick has ever written. Like, most of my bookshelf is stuff written by Rick Riordan, and I am probably an expert on the books as much as he is.
That's you know what, that's awesome. Like, I'm glad you have that. I want everyone to have something like that passion that they have over an art or an artist or a group of in your case books. Just it's good that you have that, and I hope a lot of other people have that passion as well. I hope that those same people that are making the series can rival your love for the series, but so far there's no date to it. Is that right?
Yeah, so far, we don't have a date. We just got the green light that we've got the director. Disney is picking it up. Up until now, it's been we know it's going to happen, we just don't know when. So now they're just giving us those little breadcrumbs of, like, yes, we're still thinking about you, while not actually giving us what we want yet.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes,
Mm-hmm.
But it is good to know that it is on the way.
Yes.
Going forward, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is an anime film, and it is coming to theaters in the US and Canada on March 18th. So can you tell me a little bit about, I'm not sure how much you know about this film, Corie, but you want to talk a little bit about it?
So it is the prequel to the Jujutsu Kaisen anime series, and while I'm no expert on Jujutsu Kaisen, a mutual friend of ours, Johnny, Holly, is obsessed. And that's putting it lightly. But
So she's going to be in line.
Oh, yes. It. Yes. I fully expect her to be in cosplay when she goes. And I'll have to catch up on the series because she promised she would go see the new My Hero movie with me and then had to back out. So I'm going to make her go to this one with me.
So you said you don't read the manga or know much about the series, but are you do you think this is going to be big? Because I know that Demon was it Demon Hunter or Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Okay, yeah, I know that was really big. Are you expecting this one to be big too?
I actually expect this to be a little bit bigger, just because Jujutsu Kaisen has been like one of the big animes of the year, in my opinion. Like, is just wild how popular it got so quickly.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you know what the plot is?
Basically, No. There's a pink-haired demon who is very attractive and morally gray. So definitely up my alley. We have the same hair color, so obviously. But I've been told I'd like it. I have a hard time making myself try new things.
No, that's fair. I mean, the only reason that that I'm able to try new things as far as anime goes is because I know that you're recommending it on our pod. But other than that, I do have the description here for the film. It's a young isolated high school student named Yuta Okotsu suffers from a curse from his late girlfriend who follows him everywhere. Upon meeting a sorcerer named Satoru Gojo, Yuta decides to follow him to his school in order to control the power of the curse. So, interesting, very interesting. I don't know if anybody out there can relate to... I guess it's his late girlfriend, not his ex-girlfriend. So that's the difference. But
I mean, a late girlfriend is technically an ex.
I mean, yeah, but I guess this seems like... I wonder if, like... I mean, again, I don't know anything about it, but I wonder if this is like a... It does say curse, so I'm thinking maybe it's probably not good, but like, hey, even that description alone has me interested. And Demon Slayer was at the AMC theater nearby, so maybe this one will be too, and maybe I'll have to go check it out.
You will, and we can talk about it, and maybe bring Holly around to talk about it.
Oh, I know she will want to make the whole episode about. Well, honestly, I'm excited to have her on in just a general sense because she's got so much anime knowledge.
Oh yeah, she is Queen Mama Anime.
So, moving on to our next topic, Beastars Season 2, the opening theme for that actually takes #1 in Japan's karaoke. And I apologize if I'm butchering this name, but the title of the theme is called Kaibutsu, and it's by Yoasabi. Is that correct? Is that the correct
pronunciation? Johnny, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I'm white and not fluent in Japanese, so I am not the authority on how to tell you how that is pronounced.
Okay, well, fair enough. But would you like to take over this in more detail?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Beastars is furry animals eat other furry animals, and it's bad.
Oh, fun.
Yes, it's a furry paradise. But as always, the weird anime, the music always slaps. And Kaibutsu is no different. It's very upbeat and jazzy, and I think there's even an English version of it. Or I'm thinking of Season 1, and I think it was the voice actor of Legacy who sings it and does a phenomenal job. It just makes me really happy to see that, like, anime theme songs are being done in karaoke. Because in the US, I feel like anime openings and karaoke don't go as well together. You see, like, Elton John, Disney, High School Musical. That's what I think of when I think of, like, karaoke in the US. So, for, like, anime to be like, hey, we're gonna be bumping elbows and hopefully forcing its way in, it makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even with anime becoming a little bit more popular these days, I don't think it's super mainstream even still. Certainly not mainstream enough to take, for me to expect it to be as popular as it is in Japan. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it would ever be, a #1 song in this country, I guess. But from what I've heard, apparently it's a song that slaps. So I don't know anything about Beastars other than what you've just said, but there's a lot of furries out there, and there's a lot of people that love good music. So I'm guessing there's an overlap in that Venn diagram.
You know what? I'm gonna give Beastars like a little bit of praise here because it is good. It's not just for furries. It's actually a very interesting plot. It's just, it takes a weird turn when the Tiger Mafia boss tells the bunny to strip. So, yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. That's... Well, I don't know of a better reason to transition into the next article than that. But the next one is focused on Twisted Wonderland. So Twisted Wonderland is a game that is a phone game that is on the U.S. App Store after a year of it being out in Japan. It's apparently one of Japan's top-selling games, and it's become really popular there, and a lot of people here in the U.S. were wanting to play it, and now it's finally available. So, Corie, have you played it yet? And if so, what are your thoughts on it?
I played a little bit of it. I've been playing it during work, so I have to, like, put it down a lot. But it's a turn-based game, and the artwork is fantastic. I love the artwork. And the premise of it is Hogwarts, but make it Disney villains. So each house is based off a different Disney villain. So it's almost like you're going to school for villainous. I know you love that game, Johnny.
I do.
Yes. And so you have the Queen of Hearts, Scar, Hades, Maleficent, Jafar, and I want to say one more. I can't remember.
The Evil Queen, I think she was on there too.
Oh, yeah, Evil Queen. But basically, you pick your house, and that's like the gang you roll with. And it's from what I've played so far, it's fun. I lured myself into the Scar house, mainly because the character for that is hot.
I also, when you told me about the premise, it did seem really interesting to me, and so I also played it, and I also put myself into the Scar house.
Oh, okay.
But the game itself, it wasn't for me. It was definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting some sort of I don't know, some sort of simulator. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
some
an RPG game.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. It was more of like a puzzle RPG.
Okay.
If I'm correct in saying that, not a puzzle, but more like a battle strategy kind of game. And it just I don't know. It just didn't click with me the way I was hoping it would.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. This is not gonna be for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the premise is amazing, and actually it sets it up for it's Disney Plus is going to be making an anime adaptation of Twisted Wonderland, and because you, and a bunch of other people think that the premise is going to be great, this is going to be a really great opportunity for more people to see a very unique take on Disney films brought together in some way. What's your take on the idea of this anime adaptation?
There are a few routes that this anime can go. It could go down the road of Ever After High, which 10 out of 10 always recommend. So it'd be a little cheesier and more directed towards kids, which is to be expected of Disney. Or it could lean more towards Descendants. Yes, and I could fully see Rotten to the Core being like the main theme of this if it goes down that route. Or it could
no.
or it could be something Disney targets towards a more mature audience, so not necessarily like rated R, but definitely something more for like young adults. And maybe something a little less cheesy. And in my mind, I'm thinking like House of Anubis, if you ever watched that on Nickelodeon.
I did.
Yes.
I did.
Okay, so maybe something a little bit like that. I think it could be interesting. But the anime style, I think this is just a really interesting way for it to go. So there are a few routes that I'm curious to see which one it takes.
Yeah, at first thought, I also thought that it would have a more mature theme to it. But once you reminded me that it was, Disney, then I was like, Disney never does this. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean was even a stretch. And so I'm wondering, this might be really kid friendly, and I feel like this would work a lot better if it was more mature. Like, at least to the maturity that Pirates had, which is to say that death definitely exists, and and that they'll outright say, show people being killed and there's weapons, and like that's something that I want. Like not necessarily violence, but like I do want a little bit of a darker tone to a series that's like this, because if it's a house about villains, then they're not going to be good people.
Yeah.
The teachers, the students, they're probably going to be on a little bit on the darker side, and I'm really hoping that something dark actually comes out of this. So
Yeah, like morally gray at best and downright awful at worst, which could just be something that opens up whole new doors for Disney. Not that they need any more doors to open.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, this has a lot of potential, and I've got my fingers crossed that this, just like the Percy Jackson series, will be good. Well, it'll take a little bit for us to find out more, but hopefully it ends up being good.
Yeah. And speaking of good, Johnny, I am...
So moving on.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going into our a new segment that we're going to introduce today called Plot Twist. So how this works is Corie, as everyone knows, is a huge anime fan. She is going to give me the title and promotional art for 5 different anime titles, one at a time, and I'm going to have that title and see the promotional art and give Corie my interpretation of what the premise of the entire series is from start to finish. Presumably having seen none of these shows before. I haven't watched a lot of anime, so the likelihood of me knowing what these are is slim. So, Corie, why don't you send me the first picture and tell me what the show is called?
The first one is called Fire Force.
Fire Force. Okay, so Fire Force is a TV show about a group of superheroes that were created in a lab, made by a mad scientist who's also an arsonist. And that's why he created this team of people, all with abilities of fire-related superpowers. The main guy in front, I'm just going to call him, I'm going to call him Spike, because he looks like a spike. Obviously, I'm never going to get the character names right, but that's fine. So yeah, this is Spike right in front, and he's got red fire, just your classic reddish orange fire. But then you've got, is this a girl in white next to him, or a boy?
That's a guy. That's a guy.
A guy. Okay. So there's this guy right over here, and his name is Samuel. And he is the only one. He's the odd one out. He was not a lab created superhero like the others. He actually specializes in ice powers from an unrelated, origin. But everybody else in the promotional art behind them are also the fire lab based superheroes. So they all have this kind of like rotating door of who's going to be on what mission, but they all have different fire powers. So some of them can, throw out fireballs, while another one spits out, acidic like fire, spittle. Another one might, burp out large flamethrowers. Another one can control the flames around them. Another one focuses more on light rather than fire. There's this big guy in the back. There's this big guy that has like a lot of facial hair. He burns his beard a lot on his own fire, and so he's kind of like the comic relief character. But then there's this guy next to him who's like tiny and has his eyes covered. He's like a marksman, but he has a gun that he shoots fire bullets out of, and he never misses, being totally blind. So that's what the series is about. And they just stop crime, and then it's your typical superhero show.
Very good, Johnny. Not entirely correct.
How on? I was totally on, right?
So one thing you did get right is a bunch of these people do have different fire powers. But
hell yeah.
They're based off of, like, demons. So the main guy, his fire comes from his feet, so he can use his feet for fire. Another has, like, a fire familiar. But each generation gets stronger. And our main character is one of the rare third generation. And everyone thinks that he killed his family. He is on a quest to redeem himself and prove that he did not. He was not the reason his mom and brother died.
Interesting. I love it.
Okay, so this next one is called The Promised Neverland.
Oh, you know what? I just added this onto my Netflix queue a few days ago. I haven't watched it yet because my friend recommended it to me, so I'm going to be watching it pretty soon.
Ooh, okay.
But having not yet watched it, it's called Neverland. So I'm guessing it's semi-related to Peter Pan. That was Neverland, right? Wasn't Peter Pan from Neverland?
That was.
Okay. So the main guy in front is Peter, and the girl to his left with the green hair, that's, oh God, is it Jane? What's her name?
Wendy,
sorry. Wendy.
Jane is Wendy's daughter in Neverland 2.
Oh, wow. I've never seen Neverland 2. But
you are missing out, friend.
Okay, well, the green-haired girl is Wendy. The angsty boy to Peter Pan's right is John, I believe is his name. And then the little brother in the back that's the little brother. He's happy and he's happy to be hanging out. And then the girl on the far left, that's Tinkerbell, obviously. And then the boy on the far right, that is just one of the Lost Boys. He looks like he's smirking like a Lost Boy. So basically it's a retelling of the Neverland stories, but rather than it being a brief journey into Neverland with Peter Pan and then being returned back home, the family of Wendy, John, and the little brother whose name I don't remember, Michael, they are stuck there, and so it's more of a because it's a series, it's more of a long-standing series of adventures that all of them go on. And so there's a lot of, obviously Captain Hook's going to appear, the crocodile's probably going to appear, Smee maybe even has some sort of adaptation, anime adaptation of him. But yeah, it's gonna be your classic retelling of your retelling classic story.
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. But the redhead is a girl. So who you thought was Peter? That's a girl. Her name's Emma. The girl you thought was Tinkerbell, that's a guy.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I'm going to tell you since you said you're going to watch it, and I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so this next one, if you don't watch it at some point, I'll be surprised, but it's called Rising of the Shield Hero.
Okay, Rising of the Shield Hero. Oh, right. Okay, this looks intense. So I see 3 characters right away. The first, so I see a guy who, this looks very D&D.
It is.
And, okay, so this first guy, he is your typical hero. You know, he's angsty. He probably has a troubled past. I'm guessing one or both of his parents died in some sort of accident in his past. The girl to his right, our left, she's wielding a sword. She is his love interest, and she is very feisty. She's tough, and she's tougher than him. And even though he has this kind of like, rough and gruff attitude, she's able to put him in place pretty well. She's the one that keeps him in line. And then the girl on our right, the blonde girl, she is the little sister of the main character. She has healing capabilities. She died at some point, but was brought back, and so she's sort of like an angel in training, and that's where she got her wings from. And so she has those angel wings and angel capabilities, which gives her those healing powers that she has. So she kind of joins the other two and heals them whenever they need it.
So, yes, it is D&D-esque. That's about all you got. So the main character got transported to this world. He's just a regular old nerd. And he is trying to upgrade his shield to help save this world from destruction, competing against 4 other champions who have different weapons. The girl with the ears, if I'm not mistaken, she's kind of like a little sister to him, that he like rescued from a slave trade. And then I don't remember who the blonde is. I don't think I got to her yet.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for your next one?
I am ready.
It's called My Dress Up Darling.
My Dress Up Darling. Okay, so this is more of what girls would typically... This is more of a show themed for, or aimed for girls.
Goyles.
What it's about... Did I say Goyles?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my gosh. How tired am I? So the main girl, her name is Jennifer, and she is okay, here it is. So, wait, tell me the name of the story again. Or
My Dress Up Darling.
My Dress Up Darling. Okay, so she is a popular girl at high school, and she is tasked with, everyone tells her that she has the best makeup, the best clothes, the best fashion. She is fashion forward as fashion forward can be. And she gets into a dare with her friends that say that she couldn't make over, she thinks that she is destined to be the perfect makeover artist. She can turn anyone around to make them look hot. And her friends disagree. So she bets them that if they pick anyone out in the school, that she would be able to make them out and make them over and make them hot. And so they pick some nerd who doesn't know how to dress, and she is like, you know what? This is a challenge. I can do it. And so she finds this guy, this quiet loner guy, and is like, I'm going to make you hot. And so she takes him to all these different places, gets him like these fancy clothes, and over time they sort of have feelings for each other, and her friends, they're like, oh my god, but he's such a loser, why would you go after him? And she's like, well, no, he's got a sweet heart, he's actually sweet underneath. And so it's kind of like a popular girl, nerdy guy come together, that classic story.
Okay, you actually got surprisingly close. So yes,
oh, wow.
The main girl is a popular girl. However, she's really into cosplay, and she found out that this, like, shy loner kid is amazing at sewing. Like, he can sew all these amazing clothes. So she commissions him to make her cosplays for her so she can, like, post them online and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you actually got pretty close.
Hell yeah.
All right. And are you ready for your final one?
I'm ready.
Kiss him, not me.
Kiss him, not me. Let's see. Okay. All right. Here it is. Kiss him, not me. So I see 5 characters here. Okay. So there's one girl standing in front of 4 boys. And so she... Kiss him, not me. Okay. So she is talking to... That title means that she would be talking to a guy. So... maybe... Okay, so I'm guessing that if she's talking to a guy, then he's also interested in guys. I don't know which guy that would be. I'm guessing... I'm going to say the guy on the right that's waving. So he's secretly gay. And he wants to pretend that he's with this girl to, like, you know, hide his sexuality. But she finds out. I don't know how she finds out, but she finds out that he's actually gay. And so she's like, oh my gosh, no, you don't want to kiss me, you want to kiss him. And so while they're hiding their relationship because she's trying to be a good person, she's trying to keep his secret of being gay, she's also trying to figure out how to set him up with other guys without appearing like she's trying to set up her boyfriend with other guys. And so it's a comedy about sexuality and awkward teenage years. It's a coming of age story. And so those other guys are in the story as well, potentially love interests for the guy, maybe a love interest for the girl, maybe a love interest for both. But yeah, that's what it's about.
So this story is about a very nerdy girl who goes through a major transformation in a depressive episode after her favorite anime character dies. And these 4 guys are now showing interest in her, but she, quote unquote, ships them with each other and not herself. So she is trying to get these 4 guys to date each other instead of trying to date her.
So I was close enough, right? I mean, I was close.
I'd say you got pretty close, yeah.
Okay, I think that might have been my closest one so far. But yeah, okay, interesting. So so if you had to rate it out of 5, how would you say I did with each of these?
Like on individual scale or overall?
Individually. Yeah, so like obviously a 5 out of 5 doesn't have to be perfect. It's just like better than one could, you know, naturally assume. But
okay.
Like, yeah.
So with Fire Force, I'll give you a generous 2 out of 5 just because you got that they were, you know, fire. Promise Neverland, I'm giving you 1 out of 5 because you are way off the mark. Okay,
fair enough.
For Rising of the Shield Hero, I'll give you another 2 out of 5. I feel like that's just fair. Pretty easy. And then for the last 2, I'd say those were both 4 out of 5s. Okay.
All right. Hey, you know what? Not too bad. I did well at the end. I had a good last bit there.
You did a good job, buddy.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on from that, we're going to go into our weekly recommendations. So last week, as you all know, Corie recommended Cheer Boys. So Corie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Cheer Boys is about, and then tell us what introduced you to this show.
So Cheer Boys is about a all-male college cheerleading club that gets started because the 2 main characters decide to quit judo together. And one of them, his parents met through cheerleading, so he's like, I kind of want to do this. And there's more sentimental reasons for why later on. So, I got introduced to this on TikTok, like a lot of promotional stuff was coming out for it. And so one of my good friends and I were like, oh, we'll watch this together. And so we watched the whole series. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, this definitely, I don't think it interested me quite as much as Yuri on Ice, but it definitely is in the right direction as well, for what would interest me. There was a lot more, there was story to this, there was a lot of important, it seemed like there was going to be a lot of character growth that I was really looking forward to. It seemed like, not like a lot of anime that I've watched before. I think from just looking at the pictures alone, from what you've shown me, Fire Force doesn't look like it'd be something I would like. The D&D one doesn't look like I would like it. I don't know what Promised Neverland is like, but maybe that one, and then definitely not the last two. So, like, if that kind of tells you, like, the Promised Neverland one maybe looks... I don't know what it's about, but just from the promotional art alone, like, that might be kind of something that I'd be interested in. But anyway, yeah, like, this one has that sort of, like, it's grounded in reality. There's a little bit more, just realism to it that I really appreciated.
Okay. I can get that. I can get that. Though that does not mean you will not be subjected to fantasy anime later on.
No. Please give me all different kinds, because, I mean, like, I know what I like, but there's a lot of stuff I'm sure that I don't know that I will like, so... Yeah. No. Overall, I really liked this first episode. I wasn't expecting the judo, like, the ties into that, and how he and his friend both were in that, and I think his sister too. Was that right?
Yes. His sister is still very much into judo. Yeah,
and there seemed to be sort of like a pressure to continue being a part of that. And then there was that nerdy guy, that third person who was joining.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I was just like, he's so weird, but I have to watch for him. So, it was really good, and I think I might give it a few more episodes, just same as Yuri on Ice.
I think you'll like the guy I've dubbed Squirrel Boy.
Okay, is that the nerdy guy?
No,
or is he coming up?
No, nerdy guy is who I always refer to as Cheer-Ida, and he is a character from My Hero.
Okay.
But you'll like Ton, and I think you'll like Squirrel Boy.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what else there is, coming up in the next few episodes. I'm not sure that I'll get through all of it. I might, but I'm definitely going to watch a few more episodes for sure.
Yeah, I think it's something that you'll like later on down the road too.
Okay. Well, so it's time to give it a rating. How many dorky male cheerleaders out of 5 would you give this show?
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 dorky male cheerleaders.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm gonna keep the same ranking. I think that this Cheer Boys is solid for anybody that likes kind of a more grounded anime. I'm also gonna give it 4 out of 5 dorky male cheerleaders.
All right. So for this next anime that I'm going to recommend, we're stepping away from sports anime. This one is not going to have a sports theme to it, but it's called Princess Jellyfish.
Okay.
And let me just say, this is wholesome once you get past some of the absurdity to it.
I'm okay. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the name already has me intrigued.
Yes, and you can find this on Funimation.
Perfect. Okay, well, Princess Jellyfish, episode 1. I'm looking forward to it.